Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're going into part 6 and 5/8 of today's episode. RollPlay Nebula Jazz. Eugene, you want to step in here? You have a thing you're ready to do, or you want to give it a minute?
I was gonna say if y'all are cool with this, like you have this like really tense moment, right? As Rex is like going to take the drugs. And what everybody hasn't noticed is that nearby there's like the showers where everybody rinses off after a good game. And there's been just a little puddle of green that's slowly been coming out of the shower drain. And then suddenly it forms into the front desk lady who starts blowing her whistle. But every time she blows the whistle, it sounds kind of like a modem.
Right. Okay.
And then she just starts yelling, "Save room for Jesus! Save room for Jesus! Save room for Jesus!" And just walks out yelling that and blowing the modem whistle.
Can you make a roll? I want you to make a.
Will they save room for Jesus?
Yeah. Will they save room for Jesus?
Make a Jesus roll, everyone.
Yeah. Roll your Jesus stat. Roll flashy. Roll flashy for me. Difficulty 3.
Got it.
Okay. All right. So this happens. We fade back in on like the establishing shot, and the camera starts to pan away so that we can see Rex, and we can cut in that scene, and we see them, right? Rex is there, his hand open, and Coach Slipknot is in the background, and Chad's got his bag of drugs, but they're just frozen, and we like pan kind of around them, and the camera hooks, like it gets caught and gets dragged back to the puddle on the floor that kind of like appears and starts making noise and wandering around, and then there's the whole screen kind of like glitches and flickers out and then goes to black, and we see a like a title card of a camera, like one of those stand-up camera on wheels, and it's like tilting, and there's little stars floating around it, and we see Aurora's dog, Sparky, like barking at it, and it says above it like, "We're experiencing technical difficulties. Hang on." And then it sits there. We play a little bit of elevator music for about 2 or 3 seconds, and then it flickers, and we come back to Rex and the scene there with you with the drugs, Rex. So yeah, what do you do?
Rex, he looks down at like the little packet in his hand, and smelling this Chad, it doesn't seem right. And the guys he can see around him, because he's the only one that like hasn't.
Yeah, the whole team is
is like, they look fucking ridiculous from like a sober standpoint.
And I
like,
think
these guys are like,
this is the like the panning shot as Rex looks around. We get that shot of all the like the team, and yeah, like one of them is like on a picnic table with a knife doing the like knife finger thing, like,
yeah,
and they're like, they've just like totally gone insane.
One of them's like trying to drink the whole Gatorade bucket. It's just
totally.
And he like looks down at it, and then he looks back up, and he's like, "I'll save it for game time," and like flicks it into his waistband of his football uniform, and then he just kind of like goes back over to practice. Like he's like tackling a machine or something with pads on it.
Yeah. But like, you're here to practice, but the actual football practice seems to have devolved into some kind of drug-addled like chaos frenzy.
Yeah.
But you're like, no, I'm gonna do it, and you like go and like tackle the machine. Yeah, I like that. Cool. Okay. So the next scene is Aurora and her now new best friend. Where are you and Thuja at, Aurora? You've skipped school. You're doing bad girl, tough girl shit. Where are you? What's happening?
I'd say that you like as they're practicing whatever they're doing, and then the cheerleaders are practicing as well in the field on the opposite end. I think behind the bleachers is where you see Thuja and Aurora just sort of having a conversation. Like Thuja leaned against the bleachers, and I guess Aurora just like trying so hard to like mimic that cool girl.
Right, to be cool. Yeah. There's like cigarette butts all over the place and like graffiti that just says like really like not even like graffiti, but just like the word like sex, like graffitied on a wall behind the bleachers. Yeah, and Thuja is looking at like a makeup compact and like fixing her mohawk. And we see you trying to like look cool. And that's when Lass like storms up. And she's got her like perfect white tennis shoes and her like cheerleader outfit. And she's like, Aurora, practice started. And you like look over and she looks like she's holding in some feelings and she's not looking at you. She's looking at Thuja like, how dare you?
And I go all cool girl and I'm like, yeah, well, I quit.
And she like literally like takes a second, like she can't breathe. And she's like, what do you mean you quit? The big game's tomorrow.
Well, didn't you hear? I'm crazy. I don't need to be a part of the big game anymore.
And Thuja, without looking up from the compact, she's like, yeah, she's done with that square stuff. Cheerleaders are the worst. And she like snarls.
And then I'm like, give me another cigarette.
and so Thuja I think very coolly takes the pack of cigarettes out of her leather jacket and throws them to you. And as you like go to bring the like lighter up to your mouth, Lass stomps forward and like grabs your wrist and she's like, I'm not gonna let you do this. You can't ruin your lungs or your life.
I was like, you can't stop me. You didn't stand up for me whenever Billy was there. But no, instead you're just worried about the big game.
And she's like, well, of course I'm worried about the big game. And up until this morning, so were you. And you can see her eyes like welling with tear simulated fluid.
And I'm like, I sort of like I lower my hands and I put them like on my waist and I'm like, yeah, well, you want me to take part, then you need to do something for me.
And Thuja is now paying attention. You hear the like click of the compact, and she's like looking over, like, "Ooh, this is gonna be good." And Lass looks over at Thuja and then says to you quietly, like, "Can't we talk about this somewhere else, like after cheerleading practice?" And like obviously he's feeling uncomfortable with Thuja being here.
And I shake my head. I'm like, "No, she's my friend."
She looks at you and she's like, I thought I was your friend. And then the audience is like, ooh, like, oh my God.
You can be my friend again. However, you need to help me get revenge on Amanda.
And she shakes her head and she's like, don't you remember what Miss Slimeworth taught us in ethics class? Revenge is wrong, Aurora.
Really? Ethics class? Please, that's for the weak.
Okay, let's see if you can convince her to also become a shit kid. You're just like converting all these girls to hood rats. Go ahead and make your roll. Let's say I could say forceful or sneaky, both I think apply here, whichever you prefer. You're being kind of underhanded.
I guess they're both the same, so.
Ooh, shit. All right, she's gonna defend. She's defending with careful. She's a very careful girl. Let's see how we do. All right, I got a 3. I'm going to use the free invoke of That Girl's Crazy to bump me up to 5.
No.
You can spend fate points if you want to, but she looks at you and looks at Thuja and she's like, what have you done to my friend, Aurora? She's like, we grew up together. Why are you being like this? Stop acting so crazy.
I think I'm going to use a fate point, and I'm going to say that I have no emotions, so I don't care because I'm a robot.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right.
So I don't care that he's upset.
Okay. So what do you say? You just like give her the like blank face?
I just look at her. I'm like, I'm not crazy. I just want to teach her a lesson. She needs to learn.
And and she looks at you. And you can just see like her heart breaking, and then like the music, the cheesy synth like violins come in, and you know she like gets caught up in your web of darkness, and she's just like, fine. If that's what it takes. And she like looks down. She's like, what do you need me to do?
I lean in and I'm like, okay, so after practice we have to go shower, because we stink. Let's be real. And she gets all like, okay, so when she's showering, we're gonna take all of her clothing and all of her stuff, and we're gonna hide it somewhere or throw it away, and she'll be forced to go find it.
And then
so,
she looks at you like
she won't be able to find any clothing like anywhere.
She's shocked and she's like, but Aurora, that would mean she'd be naked. And there's like a in the audience.
And I'm like, well, then who's the crazy person then?
And she kind of like, she looks at Thuja, and Thuja is just like, you can see Thuja is thinking about what she's like, yeah, Amanda naked, all right. And so she's just kind of like staring into space. And then she turns back to you and she says, okay, but if I do this, you have to promise that you're gonna put on your cheerleading outfit and you're gonna perform in the big game, and then everything will go back to normal.
And I put out my pinky and I'm like, promise.
Okay, all right. And so she like pinky swears with you. And do we get a shot of you with your fingers crossed behind your back, you nasty person?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And I think even like Thuja will see that. Like she has her fingers crossed and everything, and she's like, I promise.
Oh yeah, Thuja loves betrayal. She's just like, yeah. Okay. All right. So they so there's that moment, and I think that she turns and she like walks off, and we cut to the parking lot, and we see all these cars, these sort of mid to late 80s cars around, and one of the like a bunch of the football guys, they're all like shirtless now. One of them has like high school written on his chest in like yellow paint. And they're like peeling out of the parking garage like a clown car full of apes in this like expensive looking like sports car, screaming. So they like peels off as we pan into the shot, and we see carrying a big box of like school supplies. We see Quinn, and again your face is obscured by the box of supplies. What does your car look like, Quinn?
It is a, oh my God, what are those station wagons that used to have the wood paneling on the side? It's that. Yeah. Whatever that car is, that's what it is.
Yeah. Okay. And what's your general like kind of tenor right now? Are you like grumbling to yourself? Are you like whistling cheerfully? I don't know how you'd whistle. You don't have lips.
Now, am I in the same area as like, where am I headed right now? What am I doing?
It's the end.
Why am I here?
That's a great question. I mean, you can tell me, but I was under the impression that
why did you put me here? Is what before I delve into this.
It's the end of a school day, so you're probably just like going home.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who is around me right now? Is it just the sports kids?
They're gone. They've just left. They were the like intro momentum to carry the shot to you.
Okay.
So yeah, we just see you. I'll introduce the character who's going to come and interact with you in a second, but
yeah, I'm carrying a box of well-placed things that just obscure my face a little bit, but again, all you can really see, I have a hat like an old fisherman's hat on, and you can barely see anything else up my eyes, and I'm humming a totally not copywritten, like one of those available to the public songs that's
right.
Like 1922. Yeah.
All right, cool. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, can I say that as he's like walking up to his car, when you first see the car in kind of like a blurry shot, you can see Eugene just in the driver's seat staring off into space. And then the next time that you see that same shot, he's just gone.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, you just got your like little pseudopods on the steering wheel staring out there, and then you're just gone.
And then it's like a split second.
So what is the what do the kids call you again, Quinn? You're Mr. what again, or Professor? Whatever. I guess you'd be a Mr.
Oh my God, Quentin something. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, it wasn't Quentin.
It was Quentin something.
Yeah.
You're Quinn Wilson now. After all this shit.
Okay,
Mr. Wilson.
So we hear a girl's voice say, "Excuse me, Mr. Wilson." And we pan over and we can see still wearing her cheerleader outfit, looking real dejected, shoulders down, kind of the like Charlie Brown walk, the like wham, 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 like looking real sad. We see Lass, and and she's like walking over to you, kind of like, oh, hey.
I turn around and I'm like, Lass, what seems to be the problem? You look more down than usual.
And she says, oh, I don't want to bother you about it. Like she like kicks like a soda can on the ground. And the soda can for some reason has like Eugene on it. It's like a green can with like Eugene drinking another can with Eugene on it, drinking a can. And it has some weird alien characters. And she like kicks it and it rolls off screen.
I sort of look at her and I go to put down the box, and behind the box is a face mask. And I'm like, you can talk to me about it. It's like, don't worry, I've got a cold, so.
Yeah, and she kind of comes over and she's like, well, it's Aurora. I'm worried about her.
What's the matter with Aurora?
She's like, never mind. And like goes like she like turns around, but doesn't move. She just kind of turns around like, I'm leaving. Here I go. And like kind of looks over her shoulder at you.
Yeah, and I sort of like reach out to her, and I'm like, don't go. It'll be all right.
And she immediately turns around and she's like, it's just she's fallen in with a bad crowd. And there's like a little bit of like some tense music. And she's like that foreign exchange student, the one who's always smoking in the bathroom. Now they're spending all their time together. And, well, I just don't want her to get herself in trouble with, drugs or premarital sex. And there's like, like, oh my God.
She like she breaks the fourth wall as she says it too. She like looks straight at the audience.
Yeah.
Marital sex.
Dangerous. Don't do it.
And I look at her and I go to get my car. It literally makes no sense why I'm doing this. I just go to get my car and then roll down the window, and it's a tinted window, so it of course comes like right here. And I take off the mask. I'm like, oh, it was getting hard to breathe in that thing. And I pull that off, and I'm like, well, it seems to me like you care an awful lot about your friend. And friendships. You know what? The number one thing you should know about friendships is that you have to have a mutual sympathy between each other. Each one lacks and takes something from someone else. You benefit from each other. And you know what? I bet she could benefit from a sincere word from a good friend, letting her know how much you care.
And she shakes her head and she's like, but I tried that, Mr. Wilson. I told her how I feel, but she just won't listen. She's hell-bent on revenge. And she like looks at you all like dramatically. And
I stare forward because I'm clearly involved in another scene that I'm supposed to be getting to. And I'm like late to this scene. And I'm like, well, remember what my father always told me. One loyal friend is worth 10,000 relatives. And I just drive off.
When you say that, it comes out of your mouth as a series of snarls and hisses, and the subtitle says that, and you drive away. She's just, yeah, and she just shakes her head. She's like, boy, those lizard men sure are smart. And like, looks up to the sky as you just drive off. And the audience, like the music changes to reinforce that. Like we should all take that lesson to heart. Like everything Quinn says, no matter how much gibberish it is, it's just like totally profound. And it changes whatever anybody is thinking. So I guess you tell me what the intent of, like, what do you want her to do? What do you as a player, what do you want this to do next? And whatever your like bullshit you just made up, if you succeed at a roll, that'll guide her in that direction. So what is she supposed to do?
I want her to confront Aurora and tell her that, like, you're my best friend and I love you and I'll never let you fall to drugs. and like really put it on the line for her that like we're closer than that and I love you.
Right. Okay. All right. So roll. I mean, I want to say just roll whatever you want, but it's clever probably again for this.
So many clever rolls.
Difficulty 2.
-2. It's what it deserved. It's what it deserved.
You could spend a fate point to reroll if you want.
I'll spend a fate point to reroll.
Okay, so you got to get a 2. Good
Please,
luck.
God, let this.
Oh no! So what aspect are you using to make that failed reroll?
Oh, I was gonna use the fact that I am a former space jacker, and so I.
That's that's good. So that thing that you said, it's actually from like it's an old space jacker saying, and it like bled through to Mr. Wilson. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I like that.
I love the idea that like the language of the lizardmen isn't in her AI repertoire, so she actually didn't hear you say anything, just a few noises.
Like, wow.
Yeah, and I think that she's gonna misinterpret what you wanted her to do. And she's like, "Wow, those lizard men are so smart." And she looks down and she's like, "I just have to speak to Thuja in her own language." And we see her hold a switchblade up, and it goes snap and pops out. And then she like walks off screen.
Where did she get the switchblade?
Who even knows? So I guess later, Aurora, you should have been home by now. You don't after school. You don't go home. You go somewhere else. Where are you? Where are you and your friend Thuja now?
Hiding. Okay, so there's like this old junkyard that's the most clean junkyard you've ever been to, and it has like the bodies of these cars in them that stacked very neatly up, and some trash here and there, but it's very clean trash. For some reason it doesn't look like it's been there very long, and there's some Eugene cans lying around everywhere, and we're busy drinking like the Eugene cans, and then I think it's Thuja that goes maybe, but like there's like alcohol. We found alcohol. And Aurora has never drank alcohol. At least.
Right. Yeah. You're going through the list of stuff that you've never done before, and Thuja is just like super cool and has done all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So like big like matte painting set of a junkyard, and I think this is the junkyard where old lady Eugene lives.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is old lady Eugene's junkyard. She's this crazy lady that lives in a shack in the junkyard.
Yeah, I'm just like a crazy homeless lady who just like loves to collect just stuff.
Yeah, totally. So feel free to wander into the scene anytime you like. And yeah, so the two of you, you and Thuja are there, and you're drinking beers, and Thuja says to you, Aurora, she's like, so what are you gonna do when you get out of here? Like she's talking about like you're in prison.
And I think at first I go, wait, what? Like it just completely goes over my head. Like, get out of where? Why would I leave?
She's like, when school's over. And she like looks around and she's like, as soon as I get old enough, I'm gonna steal a car and I'm gonna drive to California. And she like looks up at the sky.
And I'm just like, but why there? What's wrong with here? Like, you don't want to stay here? You want to meet me?
She shakes her head and she's like, no, I can't stay here. This town's the worst. I hope it burns to the ground.
And then I think that's when you see like the actual crazy come through, and then like Aurora's like, do you want to do it? Do you want to burn it to the ground?
She kind of looks at you like, no, I didn't mean like literally. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, I'm yeah, sure, totally, but not right now. Later.
Okay. After school we can do it. Okay. I get it. Oh, that's totally fine. I thought that you want, like, I was okay like doing that. Okay, yeah. Me too, actually. Yeah, I want to get out of here, go to California and see stuff. Yeah, maybe meet someone that's not Billy.
She nods and she's like, yeah, that guy's the worst. You don't need him.
Maybe we can show him. He embarrassed me in front of everyone. And now everyone thinks I'm crazy and that I want to fight him. And I do. I do want to fight him. And maybe I am a little crazy, but like not that crazy. See, I'm not. But maybe we could embarrass him at the big game.
And she walks up to you and she like grabs you by the shoulders, and that's how you know it's like serious. She grabs you by the shoulders and she's like, people are gonna spend their whole life telling you what to be, Aurora. That's not how it goes. They've called me all kinds of stuff. And they're gonna do it to you too, but that doesn't matter. All that matters is what's in your heart, who you really are. And like she's like giving you this like, I'm being really serious right now look.
And I'm like, okay. But no, about tomorrow, about the big game. Do you want to do something? Let's do something. I'm supposed to cheerlead, but I'm not going to.
And yeah, she like lets go of you, and she says, well, I mean, we got to go to the game. Not like I want to or whatever, but she like kind of looks around and she's like, you know that guy Rex?
And I say, yeah, I know him. I think.
And yeah, and she's like, he's like kind of cute or whatever, right?
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I guess, yeah.
And she's like, I mean, do you think that like a girl like me and a guy like that?
You want to have premarital sex with Rex?
And she puts her hands up. She's like, whoa. I mean, maybe, whatever.
Only the bad girls do that after the dance.
And yeah, and she's like, well, one thing at a time. And you can see she's kind of like, yeah, like not. She's being a little like weird and different. Like she's being kind of premarital Rex. Yep, writing that one down. That's the name of the episode. Oh boy.
When they're like after the premarital sex, and there's like I want to say there's like an awkward pause, and you can just hear way off in the distance, "Save room for Jesus."
I mean, I can tell him that you want to do that. I've never really talked to him, but
yeah, she shakes her head and she's like, no, you can't tell him. I just, and like she gets mad and like punches a washing machine or something.
You see like Aurora jump real quick. She's like, what?
Yeah, she's just like, and like punches it. She's like, I'm having all these feelings. I hate it. And kind of like storms, like not out of the scene, but like away from you.
And I'm just really confused. I'm like, at first I'm like, I don't understand what to do. I wasn't programmed for this, and so I don't know like the response. So I'm like, well,
yeah. So this is the thing, right? Like there's a familiar feeling that kind of comes over you, where you feel a sense of everything kind of slowing down. And like you see her, like she punches and like dents this washing machine and like snarls and turns and kind of like slows in the middle of a step, and you can see crazy old lady Eugene in the background kind of like glitching out a little bit.
Yeah, I've been like looking away the whole time, but is now like
yeah
just totally staring at the camera.
Yeah. And and everything sort of like slows down, and you feel this intense pressure of like having to decide what happens next. And there was like, you could hear, I think subconsciously you could hear the soundtrack and the audience's reaction and stuff, and all of that kind of just like fades away, and there's just like silence in this moment.
And it just like slow pans on my face going like decision, and then I just stop and I walk up to Thuja and I grab her hand and I'm like, well, come on, we need to get ready for the big game, and then you can meet Rex.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. And so we cut to the big game. And this is the moment. It's like nighttime. big dark starry sky, the big football lights on the scene, the sound of the marching band playing, the audience, the like bleachers, I would say like are about a third, maybe a half, like little just Eugenes filling the stands, waving little flags. And there's the like the football team like coming onto the field and like doing the thing where they run through the big banner. The team is all juiced up. And Billy, obviously being the captain, is the first one through, like waving to everybody. And we see Amanda in the stands, in her cheerleader outfit, getting ready to go out and cheer. And so we get the big sort of setup, and everybody's here for the big game, and then there'll be the dance like after. Where is everybody when we come in on the scene besides everywhere, Eugene?
I was gonna say I'm everywhere.
I'd say that by the time we get ready, and by get ready we don't really do much, maybe change into like edgier clothes, and that's it. And I'm already buzzed because we were drinking. And I'm a lightweight, so like we're like walking in, and I don't have my cheerleading uniform on, and I'm clearly not there to do that, and just there to like start crap. So that's where I am.
So maybe you and Lass are arguing then, because she she comes over to you and Thuja, and you're over the side, and no one you can hear the sounds of the game and everything. She comes over, and she's in her uniform, and she's holding something in her hand, but you can't see it, and Thuja's there next to you. And she's like, "Why aren't you in your uniform?"
And I'm like, "You didn't keep your promise. You didn't even do the thing that we said we were gonna do. You agreed. You promised me."
She says, "I will. After the game, I promise. I just you have to get out there. We need you. You're the top of the pyramid."
You don't.
Thuja just is like, pyramid.
You don't need me. You just want to use me and then embarrass me, and I'm not going to be a part of it. You're not a real friend.
And Thuja's like leans over, and she's like, "Yeah, Lass, blow." And Lass looks at her, and you can see just like murder robot go over her face. Like her facial features just drop, and she just like goes slack. And the knife comes out, and she's like snaps it out and throws herself at Thuja. What do you do?
I probably react like that. Like I'm just like, "Oh, what?
Okay.
Are you crazy?" And they call me crazy. What are you doing? And you hear me like scream.
Yeah, and this is behind the bleachers, and the sounds of the band and the shouting, like no one can hear what's happening. And she throws herself on Thuja, and the two of them like start fighting. Thuja screams. She's like, "Get off me!" And Lass is just like Terminator here, just like trying to knife her to death, saying nothing.
And then it's like this moment where I'm watching this fight go down, and I immediately bring my arm up and look at it and go like this, and then I realize there's nothing on my wrist, and I just like look there, and I get confused because I feel like something's now missing, and something is missing, and so I don't know how to respond because my Pip-Boy is missing.
Yeah. And you look down, and like Sparky is there, but Sparky wasn't there before. And just kind of like looking quizzically at you. And let's see who wins this fight if you don't step in. I think evil murderous robot versus not actually there Thuja. I'll just give him an even chance. All right. Cool. Okay. So if you don't step in, we just see your reaction, and then there's like a splash of like fluid on your like outfit, on your face, drips off the shoulder of your jacket, and then suddenly we see Lass like stand up, and she's just like pristine. She's no blood on her or anything. Doesn't have the knife in her hand, and she looks at you, and she's like, "Well, good thing that's over." And you look at yourself, and you're wearing your cheerleader outfit again, and Thuja's just gone. There's just like no Thuja around.
My mind is blown. I think like that's when I feel the emotion, like not just like anger, but fear, like pure just terror of what I just witnessed. And then it's like then overcome with confusion of this isn't normal. What's happening in my life right now? and I look down, I see Sparky, and I just put my hands up, and I just start backing away from Lass very carefully, like, no, stay away. I don't know.
Yeah.
Can I also do something?
Of course.
So like there's so many Eugenes in the audience, right? And maybe like, you know, while stuff is going on, they've been all chanting like, go team, go team, go team.
There's absolutely a cheerleader being like, give me an H. And then the one Eugene is like, H.
Yeah. And I want to say, like, right as the splat happens, it starts to sound more like they're all chanting, Aurora, Aurora, Aurora. And then they all just, like, one of them looks through the bleachers right at Aurora and goes, Aurora, wake up, you dumb idiot. And then it just, like, glitches out and everything goes back to go team, go team.
Yeah. So Aurora, you hear a strangely familiar, though grating and obnoxious voice from somewhere. And and then it like glitches and you're back in your outfit and you're just there.
I actually, when that happens, I think it like just completely, or not completely, but I would like to roll to see if I can start to.
Yeah. Let's have an opposed roll. So what happens is Lass says to you, and her voice kind of vocodes a little bit. So we get that kind of effect where it's obviously something is going on, and she says like a phrase that's like a little awkward, like she's like, Aurora, don't worry, everything is going to be the way it was meant to be. And like you get this like piercing headache, and you can feel your body like kind of going limp. And the like control program starts to try to take over, but you can roll to resist it. Let's have you make a. I don't know. How do you defend yourself from that?
Can I use my stunt?
Yeah, totally.
Once per session, I can hack robotics when I feel threatened.
Totally. Yeah.
Can I hack myself?
So here's the thing. We cut. I think what happens is you get this piercing headache. You close your eyes. All you can hear is this high-pitched, horrible like whine, and then we hear like a sub-bass kind of like whoomp sound, and the whole like football field and everything from you out ripples in this sort of clear, like transparent dome that just goes and like shoots out and ripples through everything. And as it does, it flickers, and we see this very plain-looking kind of like holodeck looking room, like it's black with like green grid lines. It's a box, and in the middle of it, there are these little chairs sitting all like back to back, and we see Rex, Quinn, and Aurora sitting in these chairs, like with little helmets on, and they're like plugged into this apparatus. And we can see a robot trying to like put Eugene back into this tank, like scooping Eugene up and trying to like put him back in this like glass tank that's hooked up to all these electrodes. And we just see that for a second as it just like boom, like blasts out. And then when the simulation cuts back in, what does it look like? You can reset the scene completely. It can be like at the dance, it can be at the game, it could be somewhere else. It could be the beginning of a new episode. Like what does Aurora's subconscious brain reset to get her out of feeling threatened? Where do you go back to?
The scene comes back in, I would say that all of us are sitting in the bar on Pleasure Island, because that was like her last like happy moment. So she's sitting at the bar with Quinn, who's reaching for the jar that he really wanted to get, and they've already knocked out everybody in there, and we know people are coming. And so there's now it's an environment that they've already been in that's very fresh, and she wants to use that to her advantage now.
Okay, so you're suddenly, the simulation pulls information from your subconscious, from your memory, and drops you into like a safe place, which ironically is right before a big fight. And we hear in the background here like la 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 bumba, and like faintly in the background fading in. And you have everybody is like present and aware of this. How much it's your stunt. So how free of the simulation is everybody? Like, is Quinn, Rex, and I guess Eugene isn't there because Eugene, in your memory, Eugene was somewhere else, but maybe the bartender is Eugene instead. But how aware are they that something is wrong, or are they like just acting the way they did in that?
I would say at first everyone starts acting the way they did, with Rex watching us and Thuja, what simulated Thuja over there with him. And then I would say right as Quinn goes to reach for the jar disappears. Like I make it disappear, and then slowly all the containers of booze start to disappear in front of him, and then I go, we need to get out of here. Just that's all I say. Like before, I was drinking, having fun, and all that, and I just go dead, like stone cold, and say, "We need to get out of here." To Quinn.
Okay. Yeah. When you look at Thuja, she's got like a switchblade sticking out of her chest. She doesn't seem to notice it, but there's like a switchblade sticking out of her. So how does everybody else react to this? You're suddenly like back in the bar.
I think like Rex is on autopilot, and then weird stuff starts to happen behind the bar, but he's not paying attention to that. What Rex notices is everyone around them is in slow motion now. Every like single person in the scene is now moving in slow motion except them. Yeah, and
so, like, La Bamba is playing at like 1/10 speed, so it's all low like, and weird.
And Rex is super jarring, and then he realizes he's been in autopilot playing out this scene, and he kind of snaps back. What the fuck?
Can I say that, because I remember that Rex was also having a drink at the time that was going on, that like while he's like, what the fuck, looks down in his drink, and it's just Eugene like in his cup going, Rex, hello, Earth to Rex.
I really like how this went from like 70s sitcom to like a David Lynch movie so quickly. So Rex, you have a cup full of Eugene. Yeah. Everything's in slow motion.
What's Quinn doing?
Quinn, there is in front of his face, like covering it a little bit, is it's like a 2-for-1 Gorbalakian ales. Little like one of those little cards that's on like a bar, just slightly blocking his face. And he's just staring forward at essentially nothingness. The slowly emptying shelves that used to be jars but are now nothing. And he doesn't quite comprehend what's happening right now, but he knows whatever it is, it's not right.
Okay. All right. So Aurora, I guess, do you do anything besides that? You're like, we got to get out of here, and your companions are kind of dazed.
You're like Eugene, like yelling at Rex. I run over and I grab the cup and I'm like, Eugene! And I just like yell into the cup.
Like, whoa, okay, I hear you.
Do you know where we are? Do you know what to do?
So because of the way that your brain works, Eugene, you are both in the simulation and out of it at the same time. So you also see like the room and the robots moving around, everybody else is unconscious, and you keep trying to get out of this tank that they keep scooping you up and putting you back in. So you're kind of perceiving both of these things at once.
Right. Can I make some kind of a roll to tell how to disconnect everyone else?
Yeah, sure.
Wait, you have a stunt.
Sure.
Can you not? You could pull someone out with your stunt, couldn't you?
Holy shit!
Yeah.
It's gonna be the first time it's ever gonna be useful.
I know. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna use my stunt. When she asks me if I know how to get out, I'm gonna say, all right, here's what I'm gonna do, and it starts to like glitch out, and you hear like modem noises again.
Yeah.
But it's because I've prioritized the part of my mind that's like outside of the simulation.
The alternate slime line. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
The darkest slime line.
Another great.
That's really good, Autumn.
Title.
Really good.
Fucking Eugene, like, come on.
And I want to say that the chair next to me has Quinn in it. And I'm gonna use my stunt to just like whip whatever part of me is the most like free of the tank. I want to just like whip it out to the connector that's attached to his like headpiece, and I want to just like squish myself inside of there and disrupt whatever sort of mechanism is inside.
Right. So you want to free Quinn from the simulation?
Yeah.
Okay, so Aurora, Quinn just disappears, just like boop, pops out, as if we were filming the shot on a tripod, stopped it, he left, then we started the shot again. He just is there, and then he's not.
Look over, and then I just like drop the glass because I know that like if he's no longer there, then I guess I can no longer sense him as a part of like the simulation that I'm trying to control. So I grab Rex's hand and I'm like, we need to go. And I just start running out of the building. And then as we exit the building, there's like the scene just completely changes and we're no longer on this planet anymore. And we're in the streets where we found the prince and ate his body and all that. We're in the streets of that. And there's just this giant like pile up of garbage. And I keep like, as we're running and turning corners, I keep like making different types of buildings pop up and I'm trying to keep it fresh to throw them off.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So both things we get. Quinn, you suddenly wake up, and you're covered in electrodes. You have this like big weird helmet on, and your eyes snap open, and you can see this kind of square black room that you're in, and there are a bunch of robots, like chrome, kind of not humanoid robots, but like robots. One of them is vacuuming up some Eugene off the floor. The others are monitoring your friends, and then we inside the simulation, we still have Aurora, running, and buildings are changing. We're seeing bits and pieces of all of the scenes that we've seen before, plus interspersed with the high school as the simulation tries to reassert its control over Aurora's experience.
But La Bamba's playing the whole time.
Yes, yeah, totally. But it's like La Bamba is played by a marching band.
Yeah.
yeah, like with trumpet or with like French horns and like the military drums.
Right.
So, Quinn, what do you do? And then Aurora will roll to see how much you can resist the simulation. So when you wake up, Quinn, in the strange room.
I mean, no matter what the first shot clearly needs to be of his eyes opening, and then it's slowly panning out, and he has a like helmet on, and then a mask covering his face.
Yeah, a muzzle, right? Yeah.
And he just like rips both of them off.
Yeah.
And it's more of a reaction. He still doesn't know where he's at, but he like sort of like knows something's wrong and fights his way out of cords and then and wires and then looks around the room. And can I tell how many people are in this room? I mean, do we have a number?
Yeah, I mean it's everybody in the group. So Eugene.
I mean, like bad people. That's what I mean.
Like other robots. It's hard to tell because they're all kind of part of the like the cubes that make up the walls like rotate in and out and are kind of like shifting and changing shape. So like arms will come out and like adjust and like you see Rex lying there and like a machine near him injecting drugs into his arm to like keep him sedated. There's like lots of stuff going on. You're inside a sort of danger room-esque space.
Okay. So he looks around and notices that everyone is in this weird sort of matrix, and instantly goes to get like Eugene, whoever the guy is like messing with Eugene, trying to put Eugene back in the goop. I go over there because if Eugene can pull me out, hopefully Eugene can save everyone else. So I go to hack Eugene free. And and work from there.
So before as you do that, you move over to Eugene's like crate, and the machine that's trying to scoop him up like makes some proximity beeps, like, what are you doing? Like, hey, get out of here, like beeping. And then the wall kind of like near you, we see the cubes kind of like roll back, and there's like a hallway of black cubes, and someone steps out into the room. He looks like he could be related to Aurora. He's probably in his 60s, older guy. He's got a big gray beard, and he's wearing a white suit. And he
clicking a pen.
He steps
that opens up TVs that show just me.
He steps into the room.
Vis-a-vis, yeah.
And he says, if you care about Aurora at all, you won't do that, Quinn. And his voice has this vaguely like simulated sound to it. Like all of the phonemes are the same every time he says them.
Mm.
And we see you like, you got your hands on one of these like cables about ready to like rip it out of the wall.
I turn and look at him and I'm like, who are you?
And then we cut to Aurora, and Aurora, I think we see Aurora on the table or on her little like chair, kind of like twitching and like mumbling a little bit. And there's some, lines, some kind of EKG, like, science stuff, like beeping and pinging and making like something's going on in her brain.
It's like the drawing graph with the thing, and it's like spiking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't convey any information except tense stuff is happening.
Yeah.
So Aurora, inside the weird high school memory inception thing, you're trying to exert control so you can keep the program from dumping you back into the like simulation, right?
Well, I'm also trying to find a way to just completely override it and wake both of us up. Like I want to like it just suddenly stops and we wake up.
Right. Okay.
And so I'm fighting like headaches and so the whole time I'm hacking this program, I'm like sort of weaving my way through. That's why like the scenes are changing like just as fast as we're turning corners.
Rex is like sprinting behind Aurora, and they're both just running, and he's like, what the fuck is going on? And he can see like all these scenes are like memories they've shared as a team, and they're just running through all these memories. But he looks over his shoulder, and it's like a Doctor Strange-esque scenario where like the old scenes are folding in on themselves, and like the staircases are upside down and all this kind of shit. And it makes him just run faster. And he's like, oh, what's happening?
Can't explain. And then you see go ow, and then you see like blood start to come down her nose as she strains against the program.
Rex like grabs Aurora and throws her over his shoulder, and he's like, "I'll run, you think?" And he just like starts running with Aurora just like on his shoulder.
Awesome. Okay. Well, let's cut there. Let's take our break here as you like the two of you run deeper into the simulation, and when we come back, we'll have you roll Aurora to see if you can control some of the simulation so you can get to its core and break free. Okay. We got lots more Nebula jazz, so come on back, everybody.